So in this video, we're going to continue looking at volumes. And in particular, in this video, we're going to look at the volume of a cone, okay? So let's first get a definition of what a cone is. A cone is made up of a curved region and one circular base, okay? So most of us are familiar with what a cone looks like by the familiar waffle cone that we have, and it looks something like this. And we stick our ice cream down inside of it to eat. So that's what makes it look like a cone. So we're familiar with what the cone is. So I'm going to give you the formula for the volume of a cone. So the volume of a cone is V equals 1/3 pi r squared h, where r is the radius of the circular base and h is the height of the cylinder. Okay, and I've kind of given you a diagram over here for what that's going to look like. So here's your radius, here's your height, and this here is what we call the slant height, and we'll learn more about that later in a future lesson. Okay, so for our first three examples here, it says find the volume of each given cone. So let's look at number one. We know that the volume of a cone, and we have a cone here, is 1/3 pi r squared h. Now, I am given R, that's this 5 right here. So my R is 5. I'm also given H, it's 10. Okay, that's the height of my cylinder. So I'm going to come over here and fill these in. 1/3 pi 5 squared times 10. And at this point, we're going to key it in our calculator. Okay, so we're going to put in 1/3 times pi times 5 squared times 10. And we get 261.79, so that's going to be 0.8 basically. 261.8. So it's 261.8. This is in inches, and remember it's volume, so it's going to be cubed. 261.8 inches cubed. Okay, if we look at example 2, again, we have that cone, so it's going to be V equals 1/3 pi r squared h. Okay, this time my radius is the 13 here, and this time my I'm given this slant height over here, the 19. I'm looking for this one. Now you'll notice that this creates a right triangle, so I'm going to have to use the Pythagorean theorem to come up with this x here. Now remember, the side opposite your right angle is always your hypotenuse, so that's your c squared. So 19 squared equals the x squared that I'm looking for plus 13 squared. Okay, 19 squared is 361, and I know that because I keyed it in the calculator. And then x squared plus 13 squared is 169, and again, I know that because I keyed it in the calculator. Subtract 169 from both sides, and we get 192 equals x squared. Take the square root of both sides, and we get that x is equal to 13.9 millimeters. 13.9 millimeters. And along the way here, guys, all I did was key these into the calculator to figure out these. I keyed in 19 squared, 13 squared, 361 minus 169, and I keyed in the square root of 192. Now that I have this height, I can go up here and fill in. V equals 1/3 pi, my R is 13 and it's squared, and my H is 13.9. Okay, so now it becomes a calculator problem. Okay, I have 1/3 times pi, times 13 squared times 13.9. Okay, we get 2,459.9, so we're just going to say 2,460. 2,460, and this is going to be millimeters cubed. Remember, when you're dealing with volume, it's always cubed. Okay, number 3. This time we do have a cone, so we know we're going to use V equals 1/3 pi r squared h. And this time we're given the volume, and we want to find x. Now, we're giving the entire measurement of this circle here. That means we're given the diameter. So to find the radius, we need to divide that by 2, which is 11. So 11 is what our r is equal to. That's our r. But I need to find this x. That's what I'm looking for. So I'm looking for the height. Now this time it doesn't give me a slant height like it did in this problem too. So I'm going to have to fill in up here, but I do know the volume. Given V equals 2703, the 1/3 pi, r is 11, and then I'm looking for that h. That's what I'm trying to find. That's this x here. Okay, to find that, I'm going to divide by 1/3 pi 11 squared on both sides. 1/3 pi 11 squared. That all cancels out over here and just leaves me with that h. Now this stuff I'm going to put in the calculator. So we've got 2703 divided by, and I'm going to do double parentheses there. So 1/3 times pi times 11 squared, and then I'm going to close off the parentheses. That means that all of this is in the denominator. You'll be able to see that if you use your scientific, Desmos scientific calculator. You'll see it that way. All right, so we get that our h is equal to 21.3 inches. H equals 21.3 inches. All right, guys, as always, if you have questions, let me know.